All right, we're back with another live stream. I'm doing NXT right now from last night as I'm recording this from Tuesday night, July 8th. I'm trying to stay on the ball this week, trying not to fall too far behind because they're giving us an avalanche of shows over the weekend across the several companies in the United States. So I'm going to have to save some time for the weekend for the new shows. So NXT I've already seen, so I'm gonna run through it. I'm gonna try to give some thoughts. I made some bookmarks. Hopefully I'll remember some thoughts that I had about the show as I was watching it. I gotta get into NXT mode now, which is actually also TNA mode in a way, since there's been so much crossover. But yes, I have liked the crossover. I am enjoying when I see someone from NXT on TNA and when I see someone from TNA on NXT, I still get a kick out of it, so I'm enjoying it. But alright, let's just start with the first storyline of the night, the first segment, and I'll go along and catch people up on stuff they may have missed in recent weeks as we go for each storyline. So, what do we have first? First up was a match. It was Ricky Saints, actually a series of matches. He's going up against the entirety of the Vanity Project, who is aligned with Ethan Page. So Ethan Page comes out with them. There's Brad Baylor, Ricky Smokes, swipe right over here, and the Evolve champion Jackson Drake. So Ethan Page has supreme confidence in them that they'll take care of business here, or at least one of them will take down Ricky Starks. I was debating last week on my live stream about whether I thought uh, Ricky Saints really deserved to go over all three of these guys. There you see Ethan Page joins commentary, so he'll be watching this up close and personal. But yeah, I mean, I have been very high on Vanity Project as I've been following Evolve very closely, and also whatever they've done on NXT. I think they've caught on really quickly, and I don't think they deserve to get buried, really. That was my initial thought when I first heard about this, so all three of them losing to Ricky Saints would be a little troublesome for them, especially their top three guys. So in my head, I decided that I didn't think Ricky Saints should win the match, but here we go. Let's go over what happened. So Brad Baylor goes in first. Uh, hard fought matchup. All these guys put in some decent work. For new guys, they were working pretty well with Ricky Saints. Here's some slides still with Brad Baylor here. But in the end, he's going to win and beat Brad Baylor. So he sends in Ethan Page, that is, sends in Ricky Smokes next. So they're both looking to him for guidance, and he chooses Smokes and saves the Evolve champion for last. So there goes Smokes. I like him. I like his look. What can I say? I like when people exaggerate the facial expressions. I'll throw a half point over there for Brad Baylor. Ricky Smokes, I mean. Excuse me. For the charisma, at least he's trying. So he gets in there and he loses as well. Actually, sorry, I skipped over some stuff. I skipped over the spot that I was going to actually give another half point to whenever they do these vertical suplexes out of the ring. I don't know how they do it. That looked painful. So I'll throw a half point again to Ricky Smokes today. So gives my NXT review a whole point so far. But yeah, he does take care of Ricky Saints too in the end. This is the other members of Vanity Project horrified for their guy. But they get a shot in. Okay, so here's an interference spot. So sorry, I jumped the gun. Before Ricky Smokes actually wins, Jackson Drake gets a shot in on Ricky Saints. Two Rickies in the ring right now. Ricky Saints versus Ricky Smokes. But yeah, Saints gets back in the ring, and he does finish off Ricky Smokes as Ethan Page is looking on, and Ricky Saints is looking right at him. Ricky. Too many Rickies here as I'm trying to explain what's going on. Yeah, I sometimes tell myself I don't want to go into too much detail on these summaries when I do these reviews, but I am basically trying to give a comment on every detail as I go, so I have to kind of preface it with a little summary point, although I know reviews traditionally don't include summaries, but in this case, unintentionally, I gotta summarize what's going on here. But yes, lots going on here as I'm trying to describe a match between two Rickies, Ricky Saints and Ricky Smokes. But Ricky Saints gets the pinfall in the end. So here it is. It's down to the last guy. So he's got Brad Baylor down and Ricky Smokes down. He's taking care of Swipe Right, and all he's got left is the not the leader of the group, but the most successful member of the group so far, the one who's become the Evolve champion. He won a four-way elimination match, overcoming Sean Legacy in a surprise, I would say, to become the Evolve champion. So he heads into the ring and he's going to fight Ricky Saints, who's already pretty damaged at this point. They have a pretty good match, and Ricky Saints just wins the match with the, I don't know if he still calls it the Rochambeau, but yeah, that's the third fall. So he does actually take care of all of Vanity Project. And there's Ethan Page, disgruntled, obviously. And post-match, Ricky Saints grabs the microphone and he says he's going to make this a Falls Count Anywhere match at the Great American Bash. So there you go. We're going to have another one of these matches. Should be good. I mean, I personally think their last one could have been their last one because it was just so freaking good. Like, the intensity will never be matched. I feel like these two are working so well together in this program. Later on, when they both get promoted to the main roster, I think they'll make them work together again. But I don't think it'll ever be as good as it is here on NXT. It never is. When they're trying to prove themselves to get up to the main roster, they never do as well as when they go to the main roster and the fans don't really care as much. So yeah, I was very impressed with that last match, the one where Ricky Saints got his throat injured and sold it for a few weeks afterwards. And that was like, to me, the equivalent of The Rock and Stone Cold in their third WrestleMania match and how intense and crazy that was. So I'm a little worried that how it's kind of like a situation of how can they top that? How can they freaking top that? So I guess we'll have to wait and see. But there it is, Ricky Saints and Ethan Page for the night. All right, so I'm gonna give a rating for this storyline for the evening. He went through the gauntlet. I was a little disappointed about that. I thought maybe there should have been an out. Ethan Page could have cheated. That would have still made Ava make the match, I think. But overall, I'll still give it a thumbs up just for all the work they put in. I could have gave it more, but a thumbs up is fine today. So there you go. 1 point on my NXT review. +2 so far overall. Moving along. What do we got? Second segment. It's Zaruka. They're backstage. Turns out they're announcing, or at least this is the first I've heard of it, they're hanging out with Lola and Kaylani. But they let the audience know that they're going to have a chance at the WWE Tag Team titles in a four-way at the all-women's pay-per-view on Sunday at Evolution. So they're going to be in that match. As I recall correctly, it's going to be the Champions Judgment Day with Roxanne Perez filling in for Liv Morgan against Charlotte and Alexa, and against the Kabuki Warriors, and now Zarya and Zaruka. So Lainey Reed comes in, okay? She walks into the picture, and she just decides she wants to talk shit. There she is, Lainey Reed. She puts them down, says that Sol Ruka will be worn out from her match on Saturday, because at the Great American Bash, she has to defend that North American title against Izzy Dame. And then she also made fun of the fact that they got into Tatum Paxley's business, and this is what they get. So Zarya was pretty mad at Lainey for pointing out. Oh, she also pointed out that the only reason Sol Ruka has to do that extra match is because she speared Sol Ruka by accident in that tag team match. So then Kaylani and Lola get involved. They just overhear, and they're like, all right, well, you think that they're getting involved in other people's business. What do you think you've been doing, like, since you got up to NXT, since she got promoted from Level Up, I guess she was on? She has been doing nothing but sticking her nose into other people's business. She mentions Thea Hale, who Lainey Reed is in a feud with at the moment. They're actually having a match later. But Zarya, she wants to spray her with something here, something in the bottle, and Sol Ruka's like, no, don't do it. So that was pretty funny. I'll give a half point there to Sol Ruka and Zarya. I like their chemistry that they got going on. I like the whole thing that they got going on. Whatever the story is, I guess we'll see. But All right, so at this point, Zaruka leave. So they walk out the scene. They're like, yeah, good luck to whoever's in the battle royal. And that's another thing Lainey's upset about. She's like, yeah, battle royal. I should be in that battle royal. So she's upset she's not in that Evolution battle royal that's going to give a title shot, a world title shot to the winner. And I think Lola and Kaylani are in it, if I'm not mistaken. But this is where Lainey is down to prove herself to Kalani, who's talking smack, saying, what have you done to deserve it? So she's like, I'll prove it against you. So they make a match. Lainey, who Kalani said has done nothing, will have a chance to prove it to Kalani tonight later on. So there's that. Actually, you know what? I misspoke earlier. She doesn't have a match with Thea Hale. She's in a feud with Thea Hale, but there's no match. The match that was made right now is Kalani versus Lainey Reed. All right, so sorry about that. I'm doing these without notes. I'm kind of doing it from memory. So my memory failed me there a little bit, but it's all good. Let's move on to the next. Well, before we move on to the next segment, should I give out any points for this segment back here? I mean, a lot happened. We had the announcement that Sol Ruka and Zarya are in that four-way. We have a little thing here with Lainey Reed. I think I like what they're doing with Lainey Reed since she's gotten here. She kind of stuck her nose into the whole JC Jane NXT title picture at first. So screw it. I'll give this segment a half point and Orange Cassidy half thumbs up. Add a half point to our score today so far. Why not? All right, so next up, we got a video package. It's Jordan Grace and Blake Monroe. So they're supposed to be a tag team at the Great American Bash. And Jordan Grace, they're facing off against Fatal Influence, but Jordan Grace wants to train, and Blake's like, no, come here. I've got special training prepared for you. So she sent a limo, and Jordan Grace sees the limo and gets in the limo and goes over to Blake Monroe's house, and they're like, to be continued. So more on that later. No points yet. We'll take a closer look at it, and we'll see if it deserves anything later on. But next up, we got the No Quarter Catch Crew. All right, so this is a match that was prepared last week as Tavion Heights wants out of No Quarter Catch Crew, just like Miles Bourne got his release and freedom a few weeks ago. And Tavion Heights had a chance already to defeat Javon Evans, and that was the stipulation. So this is a storyline that I've highly criticized. I've given thumbs down to this in recent weeks, saying why does Tavion Heights have to earn his way out of No Quarter Catch Crew? I missed it if there's some kind of like contract that he's beholden to. Otherwise, I'm like, well, why are you being such a bitch? Just freaking leave the group if you want to. But regardless, all right, so they're in the same stable for the moment, and they both come out together, which is interesting. They've done this before, but I like the idea of people who are aligned and our friends come out together to the same music, and yet they're going to face off. So there you go. It's not a Heritage Cup rules match or anything like that. It's just a match, but I'll still give a half point to the interesting thing of them coming out together despite being opponents. Moving on, though, I got... Here they are locking up. So here's a spot. I got a spot that I've written down. Another suplex over the top rope. So I'm impressed by these. I don't know how they do it. Tavion Heights took a bad bump there. I'll throw a point at that. So I like that just because I'm not that I'm happy to see people get hurt or anything, but it's just impressive, man. When someone puts their body on the line, at least I got to throw some points their way. But here was an interesting spot. I like this too. This was what turned the match. So Tavion Heights is going up the steel steps. I might be blocking it there with my face. I'll move it over for a second. But yeah, so he's going up the steel steps, and not Clint Dempsey, Charlie Dempsey. We're watching soccer here. Charlie Dempsey takes his legs out from under him, and his leg goes in between the steps. So there you go. That's where he starts punishing him, and he starts working on the leg, because supposedly it's stuck in there. So he starts stomping on it. Ren Sinclair is telling him, nah, don't do that, man. Come on, fight fair. I don't know. Her role in all this has been really, really confusing. It's like, what is she even rooting for? Why is she even rooting for them to stay together? But here's the finish. Yeah, it's a submission. Tavion has to tap out in the end, and he doesn't earn his freedom. So Again is in there after the match trying to talk to everyone. Like, I don't know what she could be telling everyone. Like, it's okay, it's okay. He had to do it. I don't know why. I don't know why she is so hell bent on keeping this crew together. For the match itself, I'll be nice and I'll give it an indifferent. I've already said what I have to say about the whole storyline, but at least for this one, the match was fine. I liked the spot where he injured him and worked on his leg. I thought that was an interesting idea. I just wish they had more for Charlie Dempsey than no quarter catch crew. It never seemed like a good idea for me from the beginning. I don't like the name. They never caught on. I don't know why they're dragging out this, you know, ending of their storyline. It's one of those that doesn't need an ending. Sometimes in wrestling, you just give up on something and just forget about it, and no one will remember it. Someone will remember it and make a YouTube video out of it, but it's better that we just forget it instead of having this long ass storyline for the end of No Quarter Catch Crew. So I'm nice here and I didn't take points off, but I've already talked about my qualms with this whole angle in the past. Next, we go backstage. Hank and Tank, they're excited to face the Culling. And Lexus King is in the background. There's a little side story. I don't know what he's doing. He's got his ears covered and he's banging on the walls. And they're annoyed by him because they're trying to cut a promo, Hank and Tank are. But I don't know if that Lexus King thing, I really don't know what's going up there. I know that he did face Miles Bourne last week, who was deaf and who beat him. So maybe he's just trying to be deaf and use his other senses. That's the only thing I can guess. They didn't really clarify that at all. So that was a little bit too intricate of storytelling to me. I think they could have done with at least filling us in a little bit there. But all right, back to Hank and Tank. The Culling attacked them last week, or so they saw. So they're ready to face off against the Culling tonight. What's his name comes in? Javon Evans. He's been their friend. He tells them, yeah, you can get back at them just like I got back at Jasper Troy, who attacked me, so don't worry, you'll take care of this. And then right at that second, when they're acting a fool doing the whole Hank and Tank thing, Javon gets blindsided by Jasper Troy. This guy. I love the storyline of what they've been doing with him. But he's just been losing. That's the problem. He takes care of Javon Evans in the back here. Really puts him away. Javon Evans sells it as only Javon Evans can. I love when he has a serious injury and he sells some serious, like, life-threatening injury. Javon Evans does it like no one else. What can I say? All right, I got to give out points for this segment. Lexus King, no points. Hank and Tank, ready to face off against the Culling. No points either. I'm not really too fond of Hank and Tank promos. Javon Evans. So Javon Evans getting attacked by Jasper Troy. I'll give that 2 points. That came out of nowhere. I really like that. So 2 points on my rating system. Thank you, Jasper Troy. All right, at least we got something going there. We'll see if that comes back around later tonight. Let's see. Coming up, next segment. We got Mike Santana, TNA in the house. TNA in the house. All right, so we got some crossover here. Santana's here. The world title's here. Their world title belongs to Trick Williams, so they're kind of just involved with the show now. They got to be around feuding with Trick. So let's see what we got today. I don't remember what the match is off the top of my mind, but he's teaming up with Joe Hendry, it seems, to take on Wesley's High Rise. So Tyreek and Tyson DuPont. Anyways, all right, so here's the match. There's something that they mentioned coming up during this match. They show Natalya coming in with Maxine. So if I could go off topic for a second, Natalya, who has turned heel on Evolve, is with Maxine, who she's been aligned with on Raw also, but they were kind of baby faces. I don't know if Maxine, or at least at the time I was watching this, I didn't know if Maxine kind of joined in with Natalya with her doing, what she's doing and knowing what she's up to and how she's been acting, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But we'll find out more about that later because there's a battle royal coming up at Evolution and they'll both be a part of it. So we're going to cover that in depth coming up. That's a tease. But back to TNA stuff. Trick Williams comes out. So enter Trick Williams. He attacks Joe, distracts Santana, but regardless, that doesn't change the result of the match. Santana and Joe Hendry win the match. They pin the High Rise. But there's an afterbirth. Okay. Trick Williams enters, attacks Santana. Joe Hendry enters, fights with Trick. But in the end, it's a numbers game. Trick is using Wesley's high rise as they've been aligned recently to put these two down. And they stomp out Santana. And they give a trick shot to Joe Hendry. And that's it. And then here's an announcement, something I didn't know. If this was announced earlier, I didn't know. But there's a contract signing for that TNA World title. It's going to be at the Great American Bash for Slammiversary the following week. So there's a lot of crossover going on here, including that TNA World Heavyweight title. So there you go. All right, should I give any points for this tag match and the afterbirth here, the storyline for TNA for the evening? Sure, I'll throw a half point at it. Why not? I'll give a little Orange Cassidy. They didn't really progress the storyline much, but at least they did something. They kept it in the loop. TNA in the house. I like that. So any publicity is good publicity. As I said in previous broadcasts, I know people said they haven't got a TV deal or they haven't got any boost in the ratings. But dude, when I look at them houses, they're going on the road. They're actually selling tickets. People want to be there. There is traction. There is traction. It's good. The creative maybe has suffered. It's been trying to get its bearings since they're teaming up with WWE, but overall I think it's been going well enough. So moving on. Let me see. What do I got? Next segment. It's a replay. So they replay Inamura defeating Jasper Troy, and he's going to be the next guy to face Obafemi for that NXT title. So they're going to have a face-off today, but that's a little bit later on. Before that, we got a video package for the Dark State. So Dark State, they attacked Matt Cardona on Impact, believe it or not. They haven't done shit on this show except say that they're still the ones who run this place, even though they haven't been there in weeks. All they do is send in promos. Here's Saquon Sugars, the guy that I think is the best one of the group in terms of cutting promos. Cutler James. So Cutler James, interestingly enough, takes credit for the hit and run attack on Hank and Tank. So he said, yeah, people thought that he saw a steel chair and he thought it was the culling. Well, it turns out it was them. So they take credit for it. So it wasn't the culling. Very interesting. So they did do something. Okay, even though they haven't been on the show, that marks something that they've done in the past few weeks. Here's Osiris Griffin. Cut a decent promo too, kind of made light of the fact that they got over on everyone. They did a dastardly thing and nobody knew it was them, but they want to take credit for it in the end here. All right, so that's it. That's the rest of the only thing that Dark State has done on this episode. Again, just a video package with a pre-recorded promo and them trying to act tough, but they didn't come on the show today. So will I give them anything for the promo? I'll throw a little Orange Cassidy, all right? You know, like I said, Saquon and Osiris I think are pretty good. Even Dion Lennox showed a improvement in his promo, I think. Cutler James is the one who just doesn't fit in at all with these guys. Cutler James is this one on the right. I'm sorry. Find something else for him to do. He's a good worker and everything, but this is not going to work with him in Dark State. All right, here's the in-ring face-to-face between Inamura and Obafemi. So Inamura has his boy there, his tag team partner, Josh Briggs, and he's, you know, saying that he has all the support in the world. His family's gonna be watching, and he's gonna do this. And Obafemi responds with, "You're not the one who's worthy of taking this title." And this is when things get interesting, when Josh Briggs grabs the microphone. And I like this, I will say. It was a little unusual based on his character, but he gets the mic and he says Inamura's being polite, he's gonna kick your ass, and Inamura's standing there all like uneasy, like what the fuck, what are you saying? The spooky fingers, I'll throw a half point for the spooky fingers. This was totally out of character for Josh Briggs, but he said, yeah, I'm not a man of honor like Inamura, I'll do anything to win and to help him win. So even though this was out of nowhere and out of character, you know, if he's never acted like this before, I'll still give it a point. Just because it was very weird and it gives away the storyline of what's going to happen this Saturday. I feel Josh Briggs is going to be the one to cost Inamura by accident. But yeah, Obafemi gets in his face. He's like, "This isn't your fight, man. Back off." And Inamura tries to get him to back off, but Briggs just like, "Nah, I want to fight." So this turns into a fight. This turns into a Donnybrook. Inamura tries to stop it at first, but then he gets nailed by Obafemi. So he's like, "Your boy hit me, man. This is a fight now." So Josh Briggs over the top rope, and then Inamura finally does decide to get involved in this physically. He nails Obafemi and hits him with a power move, a power slam, can even pick up Obafemi. So he's a strong dude. Physically, he deserves to be in this, but he has trouble with promos, let me tell you. But this was an alright segment. I already gave my point for Josh Briggs. Other than that, for the segment overall, I'll probably give this just another half point. I'll give this an Orange Cassidy. I know there's not going to be a title change this Saturday, so that kind of takes away a lot of the excitement about it. But it's still interesting what's going on with Briggs and Inamura, so I'll give this some credit. I'm at 9.5 points so far on my review today of NXT. I'm dishing out points now wherever I can. I'm just trying to give out points. I'm trying to inflate this score. I'm trying my best to like this show. So let's point out things that we like here. All right, moving on to the next storyline. We got another video package. It's got Jordan Grace and Blake Monroe hanging out. This is the first time we're basically getting personality stuff from Blake Monroe. She is dainty. She likes to get her nails done and stuff and get pampered and have massages. And Jordan Grace is like, "I don't want to do this," but Blake Monroe convinces her, "Hey, for your mental health, just try it." So they do everything. They go everything. It's as cheesy as you could think of. Here's them two getting a massage. What can you say? In the end, I think Jordan Grace liked it. Yeah, obviously. Who wouldn't? So she thanks her, and they agree that they got to take care of Fatal Influence, and that's all they're going to focus on at the moment. So, video package, all a little cheesy, but you know what? I think it got the point across of Blake Monroe's character, of Jordan Grace being, kind of a hard ass or thick skinned, but still's got a soft side of her. So, you know what? I'll be nice and I'll give this a full point today. I'll give it a thumbs up. I can't say that much bad about it. If you want to say something bad about Blake Monroe's gimmick, I don't know. I don't think it's that bad. She's not quite Tiffany Stratton. She's got her own thing going. I think this could work. Why not? It's main roster ready, in my opinion. Moving on, next segment. We got Kalani Jordan, and she's facing off against Lainey Reed. So that was the segment from earlier. They were kind of getting into it, jaw-jacking backstage, if you will. I got a spot here. I saved something. Oh, there's Kalani Jordan doing the splits. Yep, the work looked good. Lainey, there was a little storyline. She worked the leg, so Kalani was selling a bit of a leg injury throughout the match. But she is the elder statesman, and she pulls off a really nice move here. Sorry, did I show that? Let me show that again. This deserves to be seen clearly as Kalani Jordan, I don't even know how to describe that, does the splits on the rope and does a backflip onto Lainey Reed and wins the match despite her leg injury. So for the match, I'll give that a thumbs up. Why not? I like that Lainey Reed Kalani Jordan match. Afterbirth. So as Kalani was telling Lainey early on, she needs to watch out for Thea Hale, and as Kalani is celebrating, Thea Hale comes out of nowhere and blindsides Lainey Reed, so they get into it and they have like a little pull apart. They So there's a feud that's going to continue, and Kalani Jordan's just standing there laughing. So I'll give a half point for the continuity for Thea Hale and Lainey Reed. I don't know what's going to happen there. Lainey Reed got one win, not clean. She cheated to win, so I guess they could have a little feud. That's not a bad one. It's not a bad idea. I don't know when it's going to happen. Probably at the next NXT, I'm guessing. So keep an eye out for that. Moving on. Next one we got, well, here's Cale Dixon in the back. We're checking on Javon Evans, but there's a thing going on with Cale Dixon, as we'll see later. That's a little side story. But I'll get more into why he looks all fucked up and injured later on. There's been no report of any injuries for him, so there's an interesting story of what's happening there. But yeah, Javon Evans is getting checked out by the trainer, and surprise, surprise, he literally gets blindsided again by Jasper Troy. This was so ridiculously out of the blue to me. I'm gonna give this one a heart. I love this. I gotta give 3 points to this NXT review, because at least this reminds me of Bronson Reed and Braun Strowman. Just the out of nowhereness of how it just kept going and going and going and how ridiculous it is. So I'm liking this. Jasper Troy beating the shit out of Javon Evans before security comes in, and that's that. So, good segment. I will say I love that segment. Moving on. We got a video package. All right, this might be the only thing I'll play today. It's Adriana Rizzo has tricked everyone into coming somewhere to meet up. So all three of the family who have since disbanded, Rizzo wants to talk to them, and she has called what she deems the final sit down, and she needs them to air it out right now. So they all take a seat at the table, and here's how it looks. Can't fit it all into the screen. I'll try to do this. There you go. So there it is, and they all air it out. You know what? This might be the only scene that I actually want to play in full, because it's hard for me to describe everything that they say. But as we all know, Stax turned on Tony D'Angelo first. Then we didn't know if Luca was on Stax's side or Tony's side. It was a mystery for a few weeks until Luca basically turned on both of them and said, "Nah, I don't want to be with either one of you." So here is the clip of how it went down between all these guys and the family and what they set up. What they set up was kind of obvious, but I like the scene nonetheless. Here we go.
Hey, sit down. All three of yous.
Riz, what's this all about?
What'd you think I was gonna stay in hiding forever? Tucked away? Watching while Rome burns?
Should have burned, considering the way Tony was leading everything.
Hey, enough. I called this final sit down. I knew if I told you guys what this was about, none of you would show up.
You're not wrong.
As I was in the safe house, I watched all three of you lose focus on everything the family has accomplished in NXT. Tony, Stax, you guys created a legacy. Bringing in me, bringing in Luca, all the good times at the restaurant, taking people to the bridge, to the wood shop.
Taking people to the bridge?
The championships, the family. And you guys destroyed it all.
Take it easy.
Tony, remember when we were in Vegas and I talked to you about sitting down with everyone to resolve this? But you didn't want to do that. No. Now look at
Riz, you really think that calling us here was gonna bring this family back together?
I did. But there's no saving this. So there's one last piece of family business.
Yeah, what's that?
Before I get into it, let me say this. Stax, every time you hear underboss, you think you deserve better. Luca, every time you sign a document, you wonder if Tony has your best interest. And even if there was a point to saving all this, Tony, you're always gonna wonder if someone's gonna stab you in the back. Once trust is broken, doubt creeps in, and it just doesn't work. If I left you guys to this, we'd never see the end of it. So I did what I had to do, and I talked to Ava.
She talked to Ava.
It got you guys a triple threat next week.
Oh, a triple threat. Well, okay, obviously that's what was gonna happen. That was the fucking obviousest ass thing ever. But I like how they got there. Fuck it. I like this scene.
Now, this is WWE. I can't guarantee if your paths will cross again. But as far as family business is concerned, This is the final battle.
You know what? I think you guys are setting me up. You laughing at?
You know, this is hilarious. The rat thinks he's getting set up. That's typical rat behavior. You know what, Tony? I actually agree with you. You're the one who turned on this family in the first place.
I turned.
Who is talking right now? Mister, I want to go on my own and do my own thing. As far as I'm concerned, you two are in the same boat.
Listen, I grew bigger than this family, and you three couldn't take it. Especially you. I'm the Heritage Cup champion right now. I'm bigger than all of you. And next week, I'm gonna prove it again.
You know, I hate you.
I hate you.
I really do. You know what? You two should split the cup in half.
Split it.
And I give it a week before you lose that cup.
Tony, for me to do anything in NXT, I need to get the hell away from him, and I need to step out of your shadow.
Look, I get it. It seems like you guys are both happy in your situations right now. Okay? Well, good talk, Riz. It's over. Okay, Sarah? Sarah. I'm done here.
To-
Tony, don't let me catch you by yourself.
One time, I try to do things by myself.
Man, you know what? Upon second viewing of this, I think that was awesome. I'm gonna give it 2 thumbs up. I'm giving this 2 points today. I enjoyed that very much. Tony, don't let me catch you alone. Alright, well, this is the final battle. They're ending the storyline of the family. At least NXT cares about their storylines enough. Shawn Michaels takes these stories to heart. And as for me, when people say these are kind of hokey, unrealistic storylines and, you know, the acting like they're in the mob and stuff like that, what do you want me to say? I like it. I like mob movies. I like Goodfella. I like Godfather. So, to me, it makes sense. This is who they are. This is how they act. What do you want me to say? It's not as weird as Tony Storm to me. But there you go. Moving along. Let's see what we got next. We got Jasper Troy. He's in the ring. He just kicked Javon Evans' ass in the medical trainer's room. He comes in. He grabs the mic while the commentators are trying to comment on the whole family business. But he interrupts the show, hijacks it. And Javon Evans comes out. Security's trying to put him back, and he pushes them away and runs into the ring and starts brawling with Jasper Troy. So there you go. This is good shit. How does this end? I don't even remember. Oh, it ends with an over-the-top rope dive from Javon Evans onto everybody on the outside. Javon Evans, the best in the business. The best in the business. I don't know what he's still doing on NXT, but he's so good. There you go. It's a pull apart, and the security ends up holding them back. So that's a good one. I like that one. If that's happening at the Great American Bash, I'm looking forward to that one. I'll add another 2 points in this one. I mean, there was a Javon Evans dive. Well, I'll add a point for the Javon Evans dive, and then I'll add another point for the whole segment in general. So 2 more points here for my NXT review. I'm liking this Jasper Troy, Javon Evans stuff. But I'm moving on. Next, we got the culling and an open seat for Tatum Paxley. This is the first time she's been in one of these scenes, and she likes it. She's like, yeah, this is my kind of scene. It's just dark. There's nothing here. That's pretty funny. Nico Vance and Sean Spears, you know, make her feel right at home. Very nice to her. And she does feel right at home. So I like that. I think this is a good idea. Overall, I'm going to give this 2 thumbs up just for the idea. Whoever came up with the idea of throwing Tatum in with these guys, yes, it does fit in and it looks right. So, but other than that, this also has another storyline with the culling. They're facing Hank and Tank, and Nico is offended that they were accused of that backstage attack straight out by Hank and Tank. So it wasn't them. Dark State earlier admitted to the attack. So there you go. Nico Vance is pissed off, and his mean old look here takes us straight into the next scene as he's got that same look and he's headed to the ring. So I liked how they did that. They kind of just transitioned with a little fade there between these 2 shots. But I'm not going to give any extra points to that backstage segment. I already gave a couple of points for Tatum. As for the stuff with Nico and Hank and Tank, we're going to check that out right now. So here's the match. It's the culling and they're out with Tatum Paxley. She's with them as well. She likes having friends. But the match is going to include Vance and Spears, and they got everyone with them at ringside, and they're facing off against the tag team champions, Hank and Tank, who are dressed up in all-American gear on it's the 8th of July at this point, not really the 4th of July. But all right, more people pouring into the stadium. Another tease for the Battle Royal talk later on. Ivy Nile from Raw is here, formerly of NXT. But again, I'll wait on along to talk to that. I'll wait a little bit. As for this one, there's a spot here with Hank and Tank. I guess Hank is going to get flung into the announcer's booth by Nico and straight into Booker T. Gonna wipe out Booker T right here. Let me get the camera on that. So, there you go. Booker T getting involved. I'll give a point for that. I'll give a half point for that. I'll give a half point for Booker T taking a little, not even a bump, but you know, getting physical in there. Here's the culling, looking good at the moment, but there's going to be an interference spot later. It's Tatum. So Tatum gets on the ring apron. Okay, referee's looking at her. And the real interference is when Izzy nails Tank with a kick, gives her team an advantage, but it's a false finish. But no more interference from Izzy and Tatum as Sol Ruka and Zaruka come in, and they fight off to the back with Izzy, and Zarya drags Tatum to the back, holding her. So the rest of the culling are left to be like, what the fuck is that? That's our help. That's what we were relying on. And then they're gonna take the loss because of that, basically. Too much of a distraction. Hank and Tank win. It wasn't a title match, or actually, you know what? It was a title match. That's my mistake. So yeah, Zarya and Sol Ruka really freaking cost the culling here. Too bad. For the match, and Zarya and Sol Ruka coming in and everything about it, I'll give it a half a point. Nice little angle. They've been involved. I was half surprised to see Sol Ruka and Zarya come in, but not really. It made sense. So I think it was good. Good enough for a half a point for me. Dixon and Connors. All right, so the Chase U boys. We saw that Cale Dixon was not injured, but he's in the trainer's room and he seemed injured. But we see that he's just hyperventilating and he's basically having an anxiety attack. So he's like, my blood pressure is too high. Yeah, we got Uriah Connors there taking his blood pressure. Andre Chase tells him, hey, let go of that. That's too tight. So he feels better immediately. But he doesn't want to do his match. So he's like, yeah, I can't do it. Don't make me go out there. Don't make me go out there. And Andre Chase is like, okay. He's like, nice. Because, he's learned that he has to be nice to them. They don't like when he's mean in their classroom, when he's leading the classroom. So he's been more nice to them, I guess you could say. And here he goes, the same thing. He's like, yeah, all right, fine, you don't have to do it. But he is visibly frustrated. So he walks off kind of flustered. He doesn't really know what to do. But that's that. So no match for Chase U today. I guess he's going to get it postponed to next week while Cale Dixon deals with his anxiety. So this was earlier in the night clip they played. But all right, final segment of the show. Ava, the esteemed general manager of NXT, is in the ring, and she has gotten the responsibility of announcing the participants in the Battle Royal at Evolution this Sunday for the shot at a major women's title in WWE. Since there's so many NXT women in here, it kind of fell on her lap to do it. So we do have some participants so far, but here's how this segment shaked out. JC Jane, of course, I forget. JC Jane interrupted her whole speech, her whole spiel is like, yeah, you shouldn't be even talking about that Battle Royal. You should only be talking about us. And Ava's like, yeah, I did mention you. I did mention you're a great champion. But JC Jane still wants all the attention. So she claims she's going to be the highlight of the show. And they get interrupted. So they get interrupted by Jordynne Grace, her opponent. And Jordynne Grace cuts a promo. Then Lash Legend comes in. She tells all of them it doesn't matter who wins that match because she's going to win the Battle Royal. And so you know, they're fighting over who's going to fight her, basically, which makes Fatal Influence laugh out loud. But we get more participants pouring in. Stephanie Vaquer, a lot of people happy to see her back on NXT. She's a legend to this guy already. Some guys are tripping out. This guy's tripping out over here too. Very happy to see Stephanie Vaquer. I would be too. But yes, she's there. And then Maxine Dupree and Natalia come out. So Maxine comes out and she does cut like sort of a heel promo on behalf of Natalia. So Natty gets the mic. She gets all intense too. Tells everyone that they're going to be the last two in the ring and that they're going to fight over who's going to win. So we get more entrants pouring in. We got Ivy, we got Lola, we got even Zelina Vega. So who else? Who else? Jada Parker. Jada Parker's in the audience. Julia's behind her. She didn't really talk, but she says it's her time, and then she runs in literally by herself to attack everybody, and a melee / Donnybrook breaks out, and everybody involved gets involved into this fight. I think I saw Candice LeRae too, and not Fatal Influence. The Culling, Tatum, and Izzy are watching. So it seems like they'll be involved, but they didn't get involved in this brawl. So that's that. All right, final segment. Had a lot in it. I'll give it a thumbs up. That brings my final score on this show to 23 points. Yeah, I liked it. You know, all kinds of stuff going on. Too many people to keep track of, really. The fighting didn't really seem that important. It was more important that they just let us know who was going to be in this match, and that's how the show ended, with crazy, wild excitement. But all right, so that's my review of NXT. When I come back, I have to review AEW Dynamite whenever I get the chance to do that. So we got to keep up because this weekend there's a lot going on, man. As we've seen on this show, there's the Great American Bash and Evolution for WWE on Saturday and Sunday. We got Ring of Honor, Supercard of Honor on Friday, and then All in Texas for AEW / Ring of Honor. 4 extra shows, plus a Saturday night's main event for WWE. So goddamn. Man, they're doing 2 shows on Saturday. 1 show on Sunday. WWE is ridiculous. And not to mention Collision, I'm sure is going to be there on Saturday as well. Okay. All right then. I'm done with NXT for the moment. We'll be back with more reviews whenever we get the chance. Please like and subscribe. Thank you very much.